Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Jacky's Diary. This is part of Dell's 4-Color Comics series, which would just have various titles and series and characters, but all numbered under the same kind of umbrella. So this is number 1091. But there's not 1,091 issues of Jacky's Diary. This is the only Jacky's Diary comic made until IDW published a complete collection of the strip about 10 years ago. Jacky's Diary was a syndicated comic strip running from like 1959 to 1961, written and drawn by Jack Mendelsohn, or as the cover says, Jacky Mendelsohn, age 32 and a half. And it's a very unique strip. The whole idea of the strip is that it's written and drawn by a little kid. So Jack Mendelsohn draws, like a little kid, all kind of primitive. It looks really good, though. I love the style. It's very fun to look at, and also the all the humor is based on a little kid's misperceptions of the world. Not knowing what's really going on. And they're very clever and they're very funny. And I was so glad. I never heard of this before. Last week I was at the Excalibur comic sale, and my friend Jason picked it up and showed it to me and says, you should buy this and show it off on your channel. I think it would be really a good thing to show off. And damn if he wasn't right. I read this last night, was totally charmed by this, and I definitely want to get that IDW book now, because this isn't the full run of the series. It's only I believe a 52-page comic. These Dell comics are nice. They have barely any ads. Even the inside front cover has content. And this is Jacky helps his mom with her spring cleaning. He helps his mom change the clothes on the sofa. And he likes that because he finds all the spare change hiding under the cushions. A lot of the strips end with advice for children. When people visit your house, give them the most comfortable chair to sit in. That way more money will fall out of their pockets. So the next one is a visit to the circus. His dad takes Jacky to the circus. And, a lot of the kind of humor is the misspellings of things. And sometimes it's almost like James Joyce, where the misspellings are actually kind of clever and almost have a double meaning. Not all the time, but a few of them. I was like, oh, that's a really good malapropism there. And I like this. So this is how a lot of the humor is based on this. He says the band started playing. The band leader couldn't play an instrument, so all he did was brush the flies off the other guys with a stick. That's how he perceives the conductor. The ringmaster comes out, and he assumes he's evil because he has a mustache. He just totally figures, oh, he must be evil. So we see all the acts, and sometimes he misspells them or mishears them. The jungler, and the acrobats, and then there's the lion tamer. And he says lion tamer came out with the chair, only he didn't get time to sit down on it on account of these wild lions came out and began to roar and tried to bite him. Pretty soon he got them to do a lot of good tricks, like not eating him. And then yay, me yelling. So it has all these little cute things like a kid would draw in his comic, or write in his comic. Next the clowns come out. And then we have the high wire artist. He assumes he's poor because he's just wearing his underwear, his long johns. He's like, oh, he couldn't afford any clothes, that guy. Then we have the trapeze artists, who are also wearing their underwear. And little Jacky feels a little cheated that there was a net under the trapeze. He said, yeah, even if he dropped her, she would have lived anyhow. What a cheat. And then he's surprised at the bareback rider. He figures he must have been scared of bears because he's only riding a horse. There's the elephant trainer. And he's surprised that everyone's applauding the elephant trainer while the elephants are doing all the work. And then next comes the human cannibal. It's Cannonball. He says, except he was a real bashful cannibal and didn't eat anybody, but tried to hide inside of a cannon instead. Only another guy seen him sneak in, so he lighted a match to go look for him. Cannibal inside of here, he points out. When the cannon exploded and the cannibal went flying up in the air, lucky there was a net to catch him. Then he went home without even biting anybody. I guess he's a fake cannibal. Oh, I love this kind of humor. I'm reverting to my childhood. And then him and his father go home. And after this great day, he put some crushed peanuts shells in his souvenir book. And then his advice to children is, it's okay to be bashful if you want to hide when company comes. Just don't do it in a cannon. We have a one-pager of Jacky going fishing with his dad, talking about digging up worms. And his father catches one fish, and his mom says she's going to make a fish cake out of it. Jacky says, I hope I get to blow out the candles. That's how he pictures a fish cake. Next is Camping Out of Doors, which is about a little Cub Scout adventure. And they go on a camping trip. And he figures that his scoutmaster must be very poor because he still has the same short pants on that he wore as a child. He can't afford new clothes. His scoutmaster tells the kids that we're going to see the beauty of nature. And Jacky says, except there wasn't any. All they had was a bunch of trees and grass and flowers and stuff. What a chip. They try to have lunch in this field, but the farmer comes out and says, you're trespassing. We weren't trespassing. We were just sitting there. So finally they find a place to set up camp. And I guess Jacky was in charge of the matches, holding the matches. And when the scoutmaster asks for them, none of them work. And Jacky's like, I don't understand. I tested every one of those matches and they worked fine. So everyone has to eat cold dinner. Man, this cartooning is so appealing to me. Obviously, I don't think a kid could ever draw this good as a kid. He's obviously a good cartoonist who's, because it's just very appealing to the eye, all the panels. One of the kids thinks that there's snakes and wolves and polo bears sneaking around outside, so he runs into the scoutmaster's tent, and then everyone else does too. The kid's name is Fatso Herman. He only has one eye. At the end of the camping trip, the scoutmaster resigns. So then my weekend in the country, where Jacky's family goes to visit his grandma and grandpa, who live on a farm. She's his grandmother on his mother's side, which means in case mommy and daddy get in a fight, she sticks up for mommy. When he draws this house on the hill, look at it, it's just this crazy, impossible peak. He's really grossed out by how much kissing goes on. He's like, Grandma's crazy for kissing. She just keeps kissing everybody. Even mommy, who's a girl. They have dinner. And then the next day, Jacky helps with the farm chores. Looks at all the animals. A cow licks his hand. He's very jealous of the pigs who get to play in the mud without their mom yelling at him. Grandpa takes him for a ride on the tractor, which is a machine for giving the grass a haircut. After that, he showed me where they grew the vegetables. They grew some vegetables. He spells it like gruesome, which they sell for money. If I grow up, I want to be a farmer like Grandpa. That way, if I don't finish all my vegetables, I can sell them. His little for sale sign is mashed potatoes. The colors in this are so nice too. This came out in 1960. This Dell comic, and it's just before the printing, when the printing was good, and just every color is just a nice deep hue. It's very nice. So now there's more chores going on. Feeding the chickens. And the grandfather milks the cow, which they keep in a pasture, asterisk, which is how the milk gets pasteurized. So there's some goofy puns like that all through this thing too. So finally they leave, and of course there's another round of kissing. Everybody started in kissing like crazy, phooey. And then when they get home, the father left the bathtub running, and the whole house is flooded. A little prose piece, My Day in the City, which is one of his class composition assignments. Jack's dictionary of words and what they mean. And you've seen this kind of thing before. It's kind of cute. I don't know if this is a double meaning, but he says, doctor, someone who comes and feels your purse to see how sick you are. Equator, a menagerie lion which runs around the middle of the earth. And we see this lion running around the center. That's almost like Joycean, a menagerie lion. It's this great image. Francs, what French people pay each other with, and handing sausages around. Jigsaw puzzle, a game that comes already broken. Lackadaisical, when you don't have any daisies. Oh, that's a groaner. Overjoyed is the opposite of underjoyed. He was an underjoyed person. Rhinoceros. I don't know why he's wearing glasses. An animal who has weak eyes and a very strong smell. I like this drawing of the skeleton here. This one's interesting. Transparent means a parent you can see through. And then later on, X-ray, which is a machine you use if your parents aren't trans. I love this. Zebra is like a horse, only with stripes. They are used mostly to illustrate the Z in a dictionary, like here. Next, we have Jacky's bedtime story about Jack and the Beanstalk. Mom's reading him a story. It's a typical Jack and the Beanstalk story. And, of course, he makes a point to say it's short for Jacky. They're very poor, Jack and his mother and father. His father's always sick. And God, the way he draws him, he looks like a zombie. Even the cow stopped giving milk. The cow was so poor. So one day the mother says, Jack, take the cow to market and sell it. It's the same old story. Jack trades the cow for some magic beans. And when he gets home, of course, the mom's furious. Throws the beans outside. And the beans grow into a giant beanstalk overnight. So Jacky climbs up into the clouds, and he sees the giant's castle. He figures, oh, maybe they'll give me some breakfast. I'm hungry. He does this a lot. All of a sudden, as if that's a name of someone instead of saying all of a sudden. So the giant comes in. He says he hears this giant footsteps that sound like a giant, and then it turns out, he says, it turned out to be a real life giant, and he's dressed as a New York Giant, the baseball team, which are long gone. He sees him eat a whole sheep for lunch. And he sees that he's got a chicken that lays a golden egg and a golden harp that sings beautiful songs. And so the giant goes to sleep. Jacky figures out he's going to steal these objects so his parents will be not so poor. But all of a sudden, the chicken started to quack and the harp started to holler, which awaked the giant. When the giant saw Jack, he got so mad that he started to recite poetry. It's the whole fee-fi-fo-fum thing. But of course it's changed. So he starts chasing after Jack with a bone grinder, as he points out. And Jack made it to the beanstalk with a good head start because he didn't wait to hear the end of the poem. And of course, just like in the fairy tale, he grabs an axe and chops down the beanstalk. Just in the nickel dime. And the giant falls and cracks his head, which kills him. And so everything's hunky-dory. After that, they weren't poor anymore. And also the father would get sick as much as he wanted because the magical harp would sing songs to him. The father still looks like death. Next we have Jacky's hysterical stories from history. And he tells us how the American flag got invented, which he just found out in school. Talks about the different kind of flags there were back then. He likes the Don't Tread on Me one because it's got a baby snake on it. Around this time, George Washington was fighting a war with British soldiers, which in Jacky's imagination is just a snowball fight. And the English are like, ha, you missed. And he accounts this to the fact that America had no flag. That's why they were losing the war. So he goes to Betsy Ross, who's a real good sewer. And she makes a flag out of her petticoat, which luckily was red, white, and blue. She didn't sew on any snakes on account because she was a girl. So now with the new flag, George Washington starts winning the snowball fight war. So the people pointed him president, but that's another story. And everyone's pointing at him. Yeah, you. Me? Yeah, you. The flag was so beautiful that someone wrote a song about it called the Star Strangled Banner. And the advice for children is you mustn't step on a baby snake on account of it might have fell off an old flag. Your friend Jacky. Here's Jacky's diary in the inside back cover. His father takes him to a baseball game. He says there must have been millions of people there, maybe even thousands. And the game started out when the pitcher started in to throw a ball at another guy who had a stick. Only he didn't hit him once. Ha, you missed me. Phooey. Later on, he walked another guy home. I guess his mother wouldn't let him cross the street by himself. I love this image. Be careful tomorrow. Be careful now. And then an ad for Hawaii cards. So there you go, guys. Jacky's diary. Technically, I'm not going to do that whole number business again. Just it's Jacky's diary. It's the only issue out there. This may seem nitpicky, but if you're looking this up on the internet, the comic added the apostrophe. The actual comic strip doesn't have one. It's just Jacky's diary without the apostrophe. So I hope you guys like looking at this. I hope you don't think I'm a moron for laughing so much. But I found this very funny. And fucking love the cartooning. And I just love everything about this. The whole naive point of view. And so I'm definitely going to seek out that IDW book. If anyone has a double, feel free to send it to me. I'll be very happy. So I hope you guys like looking at it, and I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.